everybody. Welcome to Ticket Stubs and Popcorn, where we are now dressed like twins. So, you know how our show works. We're going to take one actor and we're going to talk about our three favorite performances of theirs. So, today we're going to do George Clooney.
Ooh, George
Clooney. Right? Good old Georgie boy.
George Clooney.
Georgie boy, yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah. Wait, oh, crappy, because I had a...
Yeah, no.
All right, go ahead. Okay. I had a good one.
What, this is a question.
All right.
I know that you majored in modern dance, but this might be a little more of a philosophical question.
A minor in drumming.
Wow.
Which is not something I ever get to. I'd never have an opportunity to...
well, why would there be a drum around?
Anyway.
Doesn't make any sense. So my question is, maybe it's a little more philosophical than your dance background.
All right.
You know, whatever. Why do you think that the movie-going public enjoys a heist film?
Oh, why do we like
a heist film? Yeah.
All right,
that's something to mull over. Think about that.
Wow, that does come down to it being sort of a film. All right, I'll ponder that when we talk about our good friend.
All those years of modern dance now, you just have to get rid of that from your mind and get into something else.
All right, cool. All right.
Why don't you start us off with
with George Clooney?
With George Clooney, your three picks.
George Clooney.
Oh,
all right.
Just before you start, let's
we got that thing going on the bottom. So if you could do the like and subscribe thing, that
comment.
Would be super sweet.
If you have an idea for like a question we could throw out at each other,
or an actor you want us to talk about, let us know. Yeah, let us know. So anyway, all right, George Clooney, great actor, been around forever.
Yep.
Big favorite of mine. I very few George Clooney movies where I go, oh, that was kind of awful, except Monument Men. So that movie was terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, that movie was not great. So, but the first one I'm going to choose, and I usually have like a whole theme, like a whole idea that I like to present about an actor.
Okay.
When we do these things. So, my first one would be Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
All righty.
Which was so much just fun. Pure fun. It was one of those great movies where I think up until that movie came out, he was more of a dramatic actor. Just kind of very, dramatic leading man, that kind of thing.
Right.
Didn't really ever get into the action hero thing. No, not at all.
Except for Batman.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about Batman.
No,
out of respect for, human decency, we're not going to talk about Batman.
Right.
Because that was terrible. So we're not going to talk about that. But in terms of like action hero stuff, he didn't really get into that. There's that one nuclear missile movie that he did or something. I don't know. It was terrible. But anyway, so, so Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was the first bit of whimsical George Clooney we got to see. Really, he was fun, and he was funny, and he got to make silly faces, and it was a completely out there story, and I just really enjoyed seeing someone who's like a leading man. Again, man's man, always just kind of
he's a classic
put together classic leading man thing, and I like when such actors put themselves in a role where they have to be silly. Mm-hmm. And Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is pretty silly. Yeah. He gets to be pretty silly in that. And that was the first time that you get to see that George Clooney has he's got some comedy acting chops a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like watching John Hamm on when he's on 30 Rock. Exactly, because he's just so damn serious in Mad Men, and then you see him on 30 Rock where he's a clown. So it's just anyway, but it's like that. It's seeing someone who's normally very serious and in very serious roles get to be silly, and I think that that's what Oh Brother, Art Thou does for George Clooney. Another one for me in that vein would be Out of Sight, which is a little bit...
Okay.
Oh my God, it is probably my favorite J-Lo movie. Great performances by everybody. There's one of those, oh yeah, I forgot he was in this with, oh my God, now I can't even think of his name. Albert Brooks is in that because I always forget that he's in this. And halfway through, you're just like, oh yeah, he's in this. And Michael Keaton shows up in it. Great movie, a lot of fun, but it's also one of those, I think it's almost like a precursor to seeing George Clooney as like a Danny Ocean type. Sort of a lovable rogue kind of, bad guy who you just kind of like. And actually, you know what? Bringing your little thought into there, maybe that's why do we like heist films? That we could use. We'll get to that later, but that's an interesting thing. So again, it's one of those movies where he is the leading man. He is kind of a tough guy, bad guy, ex-con, escaped convict. And but it's still he gets to be funny and light, and there's a little bit more whimsy in there for him. So that's kind of cool. I'm not even gonna bring up beyond that Danny Ocean in the Ocean movies because they're all it's too easy. But I do want to bring up another fun one. He is in Intolerable Cruelty.
Yeah. Is this another pick of yours?
This is my other pick. Okay. I do that all the time. I'll reference stuff.
No.
But my official picks,
okay.
Intolerable Cruelty will be another one. Because again, he gets to be funny and I'd say it's a comical turn for him. And again, it's nice to see when you've also got movies out there where he's super serious, like, Michael Clayton or The American or Syriana, where he's just dead serious. And then he gets to be silly.
Yeah.
And again, a leading man, letting himself be that silly is kind of refreshing. And those are my quick little three on George Clooney.
George Clooney.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Like and
subscribe, everybody.
Comment a little bit. All righty.
It's going to be embarrassing when we put that like and subscribe logo elsewhere.
Oh yeah. We're
still just pointing down here.
Who knows?
So anyway. So who do you got for Georgie boy?
Okay, George Clooney. I think when you started by talking about some of the fun-loving, the comedy stuff, I think we have to realize he is a very well-rounded actor.
Yeah.
He really is. And he brings a lot to the table. And sometimes I think maybe you could think of him as, oh, he's a pretty boy just by, he does a lot of wonderful things outside of his movie career. He's an activist. There's a lot of things that he's interested in. But I do think under the surface, I think he's always this fun-loving, humorous person.
Yeah.
Who also can act. And so when you do see him in a movie that maybe has more of a comedic bend to it, you kind of forget, oh yeah, I forgot, he's really good at this.
Yeah.
And so one of my picks is also Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I love that movie. There is a joy that he brings to this character.
Yeah. And it's a great way to teach the Odyssey.
Exactly.
It's a great teaching tool.
Exactly.
When
it uses the Odyssey, as you said, and his character, he uses Everett, but his name is Ulysses Everett McGill.
Right.
So it's in there. And it's just, he's this, what do you want to say? He's like a low-level conniver. Like he's not like a big convict. He's just this low-level guy.
He just wants to get back to his wife.
To get back to his wife and his kids.
Yeah.
And he's just has so much fun because in so many ways he's just a bumbling idiot.
Oh, yeah.
In this movie, and he just happens to have two even more idiotic bumblers with him. And it's just so fun.
Where art thou?
Oh, bumbler, where are thou? And it's just so much fun because, as you said, he gets to, because it's a Coen Brothers script, it's well written, intelligently written, but they can intelligently write stupid characters, fun-loving characters. So he does get to mug a little for the camera. He does that, the whole thing with their singing career. He gets to dance too, right? Because like he's just like goofing on the
playing
scene.
with the beer.
Yeah, it's just a great. If you haven't seen this one, it's definitely worth watching. Oh, brother, where art thou? But yeah, he's just this, and in the sense there is a sincerity about he just wants to get back home, and as it is said or mispronounced in the movie, he has all these obstacles that he has to go through.
Yeah,
and it's just lovely. It's just wonderful. And like I said, he's not a big shot. He's just this low level conniver, just trying to make it back. Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun. And
it's fun to see
there is, we mentioned in an earlier episode with the Bruce Willis show how early in Bruce's career there was this wonderful verve, this joie de vivre that he had, and then he doesn't seem to tap into that as much as he's gotten older. George Clooney, who may be pretty darn close in age to Bruce Willis, maybe a couple years younger, but not much. He's been able to maintain this joy, no matter what the role is, this joy throughout his entire career. There's something there that he always brings, and I think there's this affable character that is George Clooney anyway, but he brings it out and he's always there. So one of mine, so we overlapped on Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And so another one of my picks would be The Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, it's an animation. It's, what do you call it? Stop motion animated
Wes Anderson,
film.
right?
It's a Wes Anderson one. And in this one, it's, he's got like he's just very charismatic. His character in this one he's charismatic. You hear it. He's also got a little self-deprecating humor in this movie, which probably speaks a little toward how maybe George is in real life anyway.
We never know.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. But it's wonderful. Like I said, he's charismatic. He's very loyal and devoted to his family in this one. But at the same time, he's got this flawed character, flawed by nature because he is a fox. So he has to make this decision early in his life after he's been married. And so he has to stop doing what comes natural to him, what he wants, and that would be to raid chicken houses and farms and that sort of thing. And so his wife wants him to get serious about life because now she's expecting their first baby. So he promises her. He makes a promise. And so he goes straight for a while. He's like a newspaper man, I want to say, or an editor or something. Yeah. And he just can't handle that button-down kind of life. So he's trying to be true to this kind of flawed nature, which isn't flawed, it's more fox-like, I guess. But he's trying to keep that under wraps, can't do it. So it's just a wonderful character. And and you say, well, it's animated. It's so well written, the character, his characters.
Yeah, you've got to.
It's multi-layered.
You've got to.
Yeah.
You've got to hear it in the voice. I don't care if something's animated.
Yeah.
Voice performances are.
Oh yeah.
there's a nuance to
right.
that.
He's not mailing it in because you don't see his face.
Yeah. It's not just
tremendous
reading the script.
Yeah,
there's a lot that goes into it.
I just love that performance by him, and it's not necessarily a typical thing because you don't think of George Clooney as being a voice actor. Right. He's always, let's face it, he's a good-looking man, and a lot of times he's got a lot of face time on the camera. He just does. He has a lot of camera time. And this one, I just love that character. That's one of them. My third one would be, you touched upon it briefly, is I really had a tough time between which one I was going to decide for, because it was, one was Ocean's 11, the first one, the one with, so where he's Danny Ocean, and Michael Clayton, and it almost seems that the Danny Ocean character in Ocean's 11 was almost, I don't know if this is just me, it almost seemed like it was too easy of a pick, because there's something about Danny Ocean, which we might talk about later, that almost seems too natural for George Clooney. That character seems, it's acting, obviously, but it seems like that might be really close to how he is in real life. I don't think it's exact, but you know what I mean? It just seems so natural in the role. That's why it seems like, I wonder if this is the thing. So I'm really picking Michael Clayton.
Okay.
So Michael Clayton is this, competent, very competent lawyer, but he doesn't seem to, he's not really coming out on top until the very, very end. And then he's able
to put out fires the whole time. And it's just like, stop giving me fire.
He's the fixer. He's like the problem solver. But it doesn't seem like, he doesn't seem to be coming out on top, which a lot of times George Clooney does come out on top. Yeah. Until we get to the end. And if you haven't seen Michael Clayton, Tilda Swinton is just phenomenal in this movie. Yeah. And spoiler alert, George finally is able to come out on top.
But it's the how
and it's at Tilda's expense at the end. But phenomenal. So I picked that one over the Danny Ocean character through the Ocean's 11 franchise, if you want to call it that, because he's not as smooth, he's not as polished as the Danny Ocean character.
There's a lot more pressure on him.
So the Michael Clayton
and he just
movie,
he wears it a lot. Yeah, I can see it in his body language.
Yeah, in that movie. Yeah. So I like that one because he's never confident. He's never cocky. Right. He's not polished, not smooth. He's very good at what he does, but he just still has to implement it and get it all. Yeah. Everything done.
He needs to balance things that he knows needs to happen versus his personal feelings about the people involved. Yes. So you see it, and like I said, in his body language, you can see that whole weight of the world just crashing down.
He's wearing it in a different
do it, and it's just, whereas as a Danny Ocean character, he's just not a care in the world. Just we're gonna rip off some people, it'll be fun. But I think that the lightness in the Danny Ocean character, I think that you can give a lot of that credit to the atmosphere created on the set by the director, because that really, all those ocean movies really just look like, these guys are having fun, and all of them. And all of those movies and all of those actors.
And it seems like before the camera comes on, during and after, you still get this feeling, it's fun. Yeah. Just to be there would have been fun.
One of them, I believe it's the end of 12. Yeah, I think at the end of Ocean's 12, where they all end up in a room and they're all eating and playing poker and stuff like that. You can almost imagine that the camera cuts and they're all just hanging around playing poker and eating food and just hanging out for another couple of hours.
Yes,
because there's such a camaraderie, and in an ensemble movie like that, you need that feeling of camaraderie. And clearly, I mean, they're all such great friends. Outside, you can tell. I mean, the way that you see, like Brad Pitt and Matt Damon show up in Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, which I watched again just to get ready for this, but it didn't make my top 3. And Julia Roberts shows up in that, and so there's all this sort of
connections,
these connections and all these people showing up together. So it's I think that's that sense of camaraderie really comes out, it makes it. I think it makes that Danny Ocean character a lot more likable. You end up going, I want to hang out with those guys.
Since we're going already talking on this one, did you want to go into the heist
movie thing?
Thing? Because
so,
I think
like and subscribe.
Right into it.
Well,
yes,
we
please
do our little
like and
philosophical
subscribe.
thing. Why do we like heist movies? I think that it's not so much heist movies in general. I think it's you identify or whenever you're watching a movie, whoever that main character is going to be, you're going to be usually, and this is the writer and the director's job, be on that person's side.
Right.
All right. So you're with a heist movie, you're starting off with these characters. They might be killers, and we've all seen movies where they're gonna rip off the bank or someone's gonna assassinate somebody else.
Yeah.
And if you're starting off with that character, you're on that character's side.
Yeah.
Almost regardless of whether this person is like nobody watches Ocean's 11 and feels bad for Andy Garcia. It's just
right.
Nobody.
Yeah. Or it's like, in part of the thing about heist films is it's usually something about the group, the organization. It could even be like a country, whatever, that there is some negativity that's written into the establishment, the victim, and you're also been brought along on the side of the protagonist to begin with, and so you see it through their eyes, and there is some injustice there, and so we're often you sympathize obviously more with the protagonist, and it's usually a victim in the other sense, been victimized by this thing, which will become they will become the victim.
But you could argue Danny Ocean again was we're talking about George Clooney, may as well go on that. And he is a lovable rogue.
You definitely. He's just so natural in his skin. Yeah. Which is a wonderful thing.
And you just you like all of his friends. It's just like, okay, there's the Carl Reiner character. This guy is they're all career criminals. Yeah. Con men of one level or another who have been lying and cheating their way for years and years. And rationally, you should not like these people.
Oh, yeah.
You shouldn't like these people. But because of how a movie gets framed and where it starts you off, you end up on this person's side, regardless of where your moral compass is.
And it's also like in this one, let's just say they had a bad past. We don't see that action. We only see this good-natured approach to like sticking it to the big guy or the big business or whatever it is. Yeah. And in this case, it's a casino, and so many people, let's face it, if you ever go to a casino, you already go in with this adversarial attitude. Yeah. It's me against them. I gotta win. Take your money. And you aren't gonna win in the long run. So you always want somebody to be able to, come out on top once they go against the established, in this case, a casino.
I think that there's also sort of a, Hannibal Smith 18 vibe about you love to see a plan come together. You like to see them put together a plan and think about all the contingencies and make it happen. So you get sort of caught up in the whole thing.
And in so many times too, we actually see the team getting pieced together.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a buddy film. Then they bring in another cat.
Oh,
it's a new buddy.
Yeah. He's funny too.
Here comes the fourth guy.
Yeah.
He's another sweet,
you end up really
good-natured person. I like him.
And you like to see the plan come together.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it too. So, I think that's one of those. It's one of those really interesting instances where you're watching bad people do bad things, yet you're like,
it's not shown that way.
Yeah,
so it's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't feel. So I think that's just kind of an interesting that happens when we watch movies.
Well, the other thing too, I think, is the movie to work as a heist film has to at some level have humor.
Yeah.
Because if it were played straight all the way through, I don't know if you'd be siding as easily, because you would just see it as two things, like not black and white, but just a gray thing against another gray thing. And you wouldn't be like pulling for them as much if it didn't have that humor, this little base level thing. Because it would just be kind of, I'm not going to say boring, but it wouldn't be as exciting or as much fun if it didn't have humor.
Do you think, though, that as part of the story, there needs to be, aside from greed, does there need to be an element of the plan that's sort of a bigger, sort of a larger purpose? Again, going back to the ocean films, not only is Danny and the group trying to make a whole bunch of money,
he's still trying to get his
win back
his ex-wife.
Win back the ex-wife, right.
And
if someone is like going to assassinate somebody, is the person they're going to assassinate a bad person? Are they framed as a bad person so that this person, this killer, is going to do a bad thing, but it's kind of okay, I'll allow it, because they're gonna go after someone who's not necessarily a great guy.
Or it could save a government if you kill the bad dictator, or
like in
whatever.
Kill Bill, she's getting revenge. So at its bare bones, Kill Bill is about a person who was living a life of crime, tried to leave that life of crime, was betrayed by her former co-workers.
All of them,
yeah. Attempted murder. She managed to live, and then went back to try and kill. So that's just a straight up revenge story.
Yeah.
So depending on, like, if that story was told from the point of view of Bill,
or of one of the others,
or of one of the others, and it's just like, okay, well, now we
whose side am I on?
Whose side am I on?
Yeah.
So if there wasn't that element of, there's a child involved, does that now she was pregnant when she was killed.
Shot.
Okay. You find out at the end of Kill Bill, the first part, that the baby's alive.
Right.
So, or that the baby is Bill's. I don't think you find out till later that the baby lived. So, I think it's I think it's the second one.
I'll have to see where they break the movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think it's the second one where you find out that the daughter is alive. I think. Oh my God, I've seen them all. I've seen them. Like,
I know, but the problem is that
when
it came out.
So anyway, but regardless, like, if that whole maternity part of it wasn't an element of the story, would you root for her as much? Or if it was...
But at the same time, it's kind of strange when she's with the scene with Vivica J. Fox, that's a maternal thing because her child's in that scene.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
not
no, but
Vivica's child is in the scene.
Yeah. So that
and she even tells her after, you're gonna hate me for this. You may even come after me in a few years, but doesn't she say something like that after she kills him off?
Yeah, but I think that happening, not knowing that if the pregnancy aspect wasn't about if the pregnancy aspect wasn't part of it, all that shows is just like, okay, this character isn't a total monster. She's going to let the kid live, and she acknowledges that kid might come back and get her anyways.
Right.
But you're on Uma Thurman's side anyway. And if anything, you're wondering, it's just like, oh shit, how far is she going to go? And then you're kind of relieved that she doesn't kill the daughter. You're kind of like, okay, I still feel okay about being on her side. Yeah,
so far so good. We can stick with this.
I think it's interesting how when you watch a movie, and depending on where they put you in that movie and from whose point of view you're watching that movie, you can set aside your own moral compass. Because I don't think, like I said, I don't think anybody is watching, the Shawshank Redemption and thinking, oh, they need to catch him.
That's right.
They need to stop him from escaping. I hope they catch him.
I don't care that the warden's a real slime ball or that the guards. We're all
a Law and Order movie.
So we're all about the penal code, which is a whole other movie.
I just think that's good movies can change your point of view, and that goes into the whole suspension of belief and all that stuff.
I also think there is a little bit with a heist film that you can fall back on the fact that it's not necessarily murder or this one. They're just stealing from a bigger, whatever, corporation or a group or whatever. So they're only stealing money, and whether or not it's like a Robin Hood, steal from the rich, give to the poor thing, that depends on each movie.
Yeah.
But so I think sometimes we can rationalize maybe certain crimes a little easier.
So in a movie like Inside Man.
Wait a minute.
Denzel Washington, Clive Owen.
Right. That's the bank one, right?
Yeah. So do you remember it well enough?
No.
Okay.
This is a Spike Lee movie.
Yes. And it's one of those things where you start off with Clive Owen, the bad guy, narrating it. And Denzel Washington comes in, he needs to kind of solve it, but I think it's because you're starting with Clive Owen.
Yeah, you're already
on his side.
Yeah.
Because, and I think I think there's a big part of it about, let's see this plan come together. What are they doing? Like what's, I think it's that curiosity. And it's, it's partially about them stealing a big, huge diamond, but it's also about, there's that moral aspect of it where the Christopher Plummer's character was a war profiteer, and there's, dealings with the Nazis way back when.
Yeah.
So, but I just think it's a really interesting question about when in a story do you set aside your moral, like your own personal moral compass to side with a character, and how does a writer and a director do that?
And
do they do it successfully?
Right. They have to elicit a certain response.
Yeah, but I can't think of I love a good heist movie, and I can't think of a heist movie. The Town is another one where you're like these. There's no bigger picture. There's no these guys are bad guys, but they've got a heart of gold kind of thing. And the only softening agent that's applied here is the fact that he ends up falling in love with the girl, with the bank teller.
Yeah,
and that sort of softens it. And you're still on the side of the bad guys in that movie.
Yeah, it definitely has to be the writing that's going to start you off on the right foot.
Yeah.
because I was thinking, I mentioned before about, humor plays a big thing, and it does, but there are movies that are heist movies per se that don't have humor. Like I was just thinking Friends of Eddie Coyle, that one, they're bank robbers. That's real. There's no humor really in that movie, but you're always on, Robert Mitchum's side, and they're robbing.
Or Heat.
Heat. Yeah.
I have never met a person who is on Al Pacino's side.
Yeah.
Everyone loves to side with the bad guy. And I don't know. I don't understand necessarily why that is, except that
how we're brought into the movie.
Yeah. I think it's how we're.
Yeah. Because it's funny is by the time you get to we talked Kill Bill, by the time you get to Kill Bill 2, because we've already started, we've already kind of been inculcated in this from the bride's point of view. So we're already siding with her. So when you get to really see and get a chance to be exposed to Bill's character, more of his personality, he's pretty charming in a certain way.
He really is.
So you think to yourself, if it started off with him, you'd be siding with him. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though whatever the way it could be formed and kind of molded in a certain way, you'd be like, yeah, I find him so charming and endearing. He raised the child. You could be led in a certain way to be rooting for him, but at that point, of course, you can't because you're on Beatrix. Right.
But from his point of view, here's a guy at its bare bones. Here's a guy running an organization. He's sleeping with one of his employees, and she gets pregnant and quits. And runs off.
He has to search her out.
Yeah, he has to search her out. So
especially because he's pretty sure that it's his child anyway.
In another sense, this is a guy who is trying to find the mother of his child.
Yeah.
And he even admits when they have their conversation that he overreacted.
Oh yeah,
which is I mean, and that's Quentin Tarantino's sick humor.
Right.
And there's a whole lot going on there. But again, if it was from his point of view, it you don't necessarily know that you would be on the side of Beatrix.
Yeah,
it's this guy who's trying. It's just like, oh my God, I was dating this woman and she quit. She left because she got pregnant. And didn't even give us a chance to figure out how to make this work.
Yeah, it's the whole heist thing, which can be different from a revenge movie, but
and that's how Kill Bill is like Kramer versus Kramer.
But I laughed a lot more.
I know, right? Less killing in Kramer versus Kramer.
Yes.
Fewer swords.
Right. A skinned knee in a hospital visit is about
exactly.
What you get for that. But it's a great thing to think about.
Yeah, it's a really interesting conversation.
And I do think, obviously, it's where we're led in. It's a skilled writer and a deft hand of a director that can lead us right by the nose and follow us. Yeah, we'll just follow them along.
Make this amoral character someone that we're willing to root for throughout the whole thing. So anyway, hey, like and subscribe while you're doing nothing while Peter's grabbing the popcorn bucket so that we can see who we're going to do next.
Who we're going to do.
We're going to do next. I want to shake it up.
Okay, you shake it up.
Go ahead.
Don't shake it up too much. I made sure Ethan Hawke was on the top, but now you shifted things.
All right. Who do we got?
Oh, okay. I like.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Well, I don't know.
Well, no, that will be. Everybody's been really fun to do. So
far, so good.
Cool. All right. So that's George Clooney. Peter talked about Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And Fantastic Mr. Fox. And Michael Clayton.
Yes. And Frank's picks were Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? We agreed on that one. Out of Sight. And Don't Tell Me, Intolerable, Cruelty.
There you go.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. Great. All right. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for liking and subscribing and all that good stuff. Thanks for your comments. We'd love to hear what you have to think. And, we'll see you next time.
Take care.